tell our friends, and they can have my things when we're dead. But we gonna live forever. We gonna live forever.
Welcome to the Boys Cast. For the boys, Ryan Long here, Daniel Polishchuk.
Hello.
And this is the last episode in the pre-studio, which is the new version of this studio before the final studio has arrived.
The final studio.
For podcasting, the only job that no one hires you for and you just start doing it. The only
No comedy.
Comedy's but that is correct. But someone has to hire you for comedy. A club has to book you.
Yes.
The comedy's the only job. There's no job like janitor out there somewhere that just went to a place. He just started just start cleaning chairs.
You just crushed a lot of aspiring janitors' dreams right now with that comment. A lot of people have just been mopping at home, just working on their technique and being like,
There was
that's it, huh?
There's this guy that I went to high school with, and he's fucking did too much acid because Danny convinced like three of our friends to
One.
No, there's this guy we know, and Danny basically told him to do acid. He's like, I don't do that. He had like a house, he had a wife,
Worked at a bank.
Worked at a bank. Danny convinced him to do acid. He got rid of all that stuff.
His material possessions.
He got rid of all of his material possessions.
Yeah.
And now he essentially lives in a van. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you ask,
Well, he has a place, but he has a van.
I mean, if you
too.
ask him, he'll be like, "Yo, this is way better." Danny saved me.
Saved him. Yeah.
But that's every time Danny's like, to anyone else, you go, "Oh, you got to try acid." You go, "You're gonna do this."
No,
again.
I've said it a million times. He was the guy who I go, yeah, all right, I'm not telling people to do acid anymore.
That's what this guy that I know in high school, he did acid. And then he broke into the high school that we went to, and then he started stacking all the chairs. Mm-hmm. This was like a legendary story. And I'm not going to say his name because it's one of those guys, you say it 3 times and he shows up. It's literally, he'll knock on the door.
Same with my guy.
All I'll say is we called him Smallhead. Dude, this guy broke into the the high school, and the cops got a call that someone's, dicking around in there. Mm-hmm. And then they broke in, and he was stacking all the chairs, and they're like, "You got to come with us to the cop." He goes, "You don't get it. I got to."
Is it high school or
high school? He goes, "You don't get it. I'm not even done yet. If I don't stack these chairs, the world's gonna end." So they brought him to the insane asylum or whatever. He went there for 4 or 5 days. That's how fast it takes to kick the chair stacking addiction.
You go, hey, you want to be with a bunch of really crazy people who are like threatening to rape you? You go, I'm fine now. Chairs could do whatever they want.
Well, that's what it is. You start and you go, oh my God. They got him there the first day, and he's like, I need to do it. And then by the third day, it's like,
The
go,
Smallhead has been revealed.
I'm bleeping that out. Dude, you don't understand. This is not a guy you want at your house.
Does he listen?
He sent me a weird message on Facebook like 10 years ago being like what you're doing.
Okay. 10 years ago.
Yeah. In the band days, he sent me something.
So he's definitely probably listening.
Yeah, it was a big thing in our group. But I'm telling you, it's not who you want. But then the 4th day in the insane asylum, they go, hey, do you want to stack that chair? And he goes, you know what? I don't. And everyone just started slow clapping. And they let him out of the insane asylum.
Do you think he did? That was the question. Like, do you think he had he was like not crazy. Like he was still crazy, but he's like just.
He knew. He goes, "Do I want to tell them I want to stack this group of chairs right now?"
It's like, yes, of course I want to stack the chairs.
Or do I get out here and it's unlimited chairs? It's a free for all. It's a chair buffet.
Exactly. He's like, he was crazy, but not that crazy.
Well, he had a mission, and he knows that he's not stupid, but he's like, they don't get it. Obviously, they ha stacking chairs, but he knows that, okay, you'll be thanking me when this chair stacking prevents the apocalypse, essentially. By the way, I kind of felt like I got my brain back a little bit after working on that script just like nonstop. Mm-hmm. Because it was, even when I was doing comedy, because there's always that kind of question with like the scripts or whatever. You kind of, especially when you cultivate an audience of fucking degenerate troublemakers like the same way we are, there's this thing of your audience wants you to just be the most outrageous stuff. That's the ideal world. Like, especially, those streamers where it's like they have fans that basically just want them to get arrested. That's the goal. Yeah, someone like that where it's like anyone who follows you just wants you to die. That would be the ideal, and they could be sweet, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But no, it's more just like, I get that too. It's like when you go to a comedy club, if you like someone, you're kind of like, oh, you like it when they push it or whatever. But then I always kind of think, is it pandering? Or is it being like if you go, hey, if I'm just going to do all that stuff, it's like, it becomes this thing where it's like, when it's say that I want to do something that's not kind of aggressive, right? You go, am I being a pussy? Like, cause I'm stepping outside, I'm doing something non-controversial. I go, am I kind of being afraid? Like I'm out here on the front lines of this thing or whatever, you know, and it's like, if you dole it back, you go, is it because you're being a pussy or are you being an artist where it's like, no, I'm fucking doing what I want to do. And I kind of, so
yeah, I mean, you can't just you can't just court controversy for the sake of it.
No, you can't, right?
Not for the sake of it.
But also the thing is like, but then you go, okay, but are you being, is it because that I really want to do this other thing, or is it because you're being a pussy where you're like, I'm tired of being yelled at?
In your case, being a pussy. In your specific case, being a huge pussy would be my.
Answer. The truth is that's what I'm saying. So when we were in Miami and stuff, I was kind of having these thoughts, but and trying to figure it out, and I would kind of be, I don't know, tortured by it's the right word, but I would not know the answer, and then as soon as I finished like that final version of that script and sent it over, I felt like I had my brain back, and I was like, no, the answer is that stuff's hard. You're always going to be sort of battling that. And it's like, yeah, but it's this like nuanced game that takes a lot of effort, but I didn't have the brain power to fucking navigate it. So I think when people, that's why you see a lot of people that get successful like bands or whatever, and they're, you know, like a Kevin Hart style that's just running all these brands and they're doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't have the fucking, like I was going to sleep at night thinking about the bandwidth.
Yeah.
You don't have the bandwidth for this question. So your only answer is you just keep doing what you're doing, like be the Foo Fighters, make the same album 85 times.
Yeah.
Or you fucking, you know, you go completely the other way and then you kind of make mainstream kind of shit and it's hard without
to
ever cause it never ends.
I mean, by far the coolest thing about musicians is the ones who just are like, just reinvent themselves all the time. Because like comedy doesn't really have that.
The ones that pull it off.
Other than Larry the Cable Guy who did it once.
Yeah.
Like, where he's like, I'm a new guy, but it's like, but it's like, it's a real common thing, you know, like guys like David Bowie, who every 5 years is like, yeah, I'm a new guy.
Because you were playing around with that. You were saying that your new album was going to be called Cheviniscence.
Cheviniscence.
It was going to be a full, Daniel Baljac speaks the truth.
It's me kneeling on the American flag.
Just on the front, and you got like a cop uniform on. And it's called Cheviniscence.
Cheviniscence.
And then he takes a baton to.
I'm kneeling on Colin Kaepernick, wearing a USA flag jersey.
Yeah, Cheviniscence. That's
like,
Jamie.
right.
That's what you were telling me, that you were going to reinvent yourself, and I said maybe
too much of a pivot. It's more of a 180 versus a pivot.
So. I can't remember what I was gonna fucking say about that. Oh yeah. So when you talk about people that reinvent themselves, so it is interesting, like the people that do it good and the people that do bad. You know who Machine Gun Kelly is, right?
Of course.
I always kind of feel like that's someone that does it so weird, and because he's not. It feels like it's not reinventing itself. It's just like pandering to Hollywood, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And the difference is too, because he kind of came out and he goes, oh, I'll make a pop punk album. First of all, never go full pop punk. I think that's...
Yeah, isn't that his most recent thing with the pop punk?
Yeah, you want to have a little taste of pop punk in your thing. But you go... Also, the other thing is that, not to discount, when you're white, okay, if you're a black guy...
You can't do pop punk?
Well... depends on how you started. So if Lil Wayne came out and he goes, oh, I'm going to play the guitar now, and he sucked, right?
Right, oh yeah.
And it's kind of this thing, oh, I'll be this guitar player or whatever. And it was a little bit interesting. And even whether you liked it or not, it was like kind of a gimmick, and it was like kind of different from but when you're Machine Gun Kelly, this white rapper, and then you go, okay, I'm going to start doing pop punk. Everyone goes, so, okay, that's what we thought. This whole thing was phony from the get-go.
Right, yeah.
Because you're already like
Duped us.
Yeah,
but he's like not a bad, I don't know, but he's like not a terrible rapper. Like he's not
whatever.
He's not like those Florida kids.
Oh yeah, the ones you don't like. No.
I love them.
That's fine. I go, yeah, whatever. But my point is, as soon as he's already was probably under scrutiny. It's basically like, you're just admitting, okay, so you admit that this other fucking rap grift was a fucking, just a ploy, and really you were this like traditional white skateboard kid that like wasn't into.
What do
this
you
stuff.
think he'll be on next? Like Honky Tonk or something?
That's the Kid Rock. See, the Kid Rock move, I think that was.
But he always stayed within kind of. Yeah, I guess he was.
But like, Kid Rock, his rap career was based on I'm the country guy of rap.
Country guy rapping. Who was the other guy? Uncle Cracker.
I don't know, Uncle Cracker. That sounds like.
I don't know. He was like a guy that Kid Rock brought up. I think he was like.
No, you're thinking about Josie, 3'10" with a 10-foot dick.
That might be him too.
That was proven too. But anyway, okay, we have a few things to get into in this episode. The first one is Danny got the vaccine.
The vaccine.
So you got
It was rough.
What? Yeah.
No, it actually wasn't that rough. I heard you're fucking.
So my chick got the vaccine.
I heard she's having a tough time
And
with
first
it.
of all, after essentially being like, I'll never get it and stuff. And
She said she'll never get it.
Yeah, because I guess I probably shouldn't air that out too much, but it's almost like my mom's like this too, where it's like they're like classic fucking anti-vax, like, but they're not anti, which is why I kind of always get it. The same thing I said, I have more of a soft spot for conspiracies when we were talking the Patreon. It's like, this is what my mom's take is. She's just like, hey, the fucking government used to put fucking 8 chemicals into your body when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Now they put 350 and we don't know what they are. And no, I don't love that.
Yeah.
So they're not going to fucking make a big stink of it. The world's the world.
They play the uncertainty card.
Well, but they're into health. Like, they're the type of person that's like, you're drinking Coke? What are you, crazy?
Totally.
Do you know,
but again,
she's
it's like,
everything.
It's like I'd say the corollary to the vaccine thing is like, but there's a polio vaccine and people don't get polio anymore.
No, okay, whatever. But I'm saying...
There's this idea, but like people are like, all vaccines are bad. And you're like, this one might be, I don't know. But to be dismissive of them all is like... No,
they're not dismissive of them all. That's like saying, okay, imagine you eat a fucking chocolate bar and someone goes, you know how much fucking bad shit's in there? You go, what? You're just dismissive of ingredients? Mm-hmm. It's not that. It's like, my mom's like into organic shit or whatever. She smokes though sometimes now. So I used to go, is this organic?
No, it's the Americans. Dude, my brother's in the same thing. He's all in organic. But,
yeah, they
smoke
stuff.
But he smokes sometimes. He smokes organic American spirits because he's like, these are the only ones without chemicals in them.
Yeah.
And you're like,
but it is actually rational if you're the fucking person that's like, hey, can I know all the ingredients that are in this steak to make sure there's no preservative? And then to say, oh yeah, we're gonna give your kids 600 fucking.
But again, no offense to your mom, but it's myself included. But if someone told me the ingredients in a vaccine, I wouldn't know what any of them mean. I don't know what that is. I don't know how vaccines.
They do.
Made.
That's their whole gimmick. Is no one being the person at the party.
See, I feel like
oh, you're eating that macaroon. Do you know how many preservatives?
I feel like our friends are the same, where it's like they pretend they know what's going on, but if they ever talk to somebody who actually knew what was going on, they'd be exposed as knowing nothing.
Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's the point where you go, okay, so if you do say that, you go, okay, I think it's weird that they're giving our kids 400 vaccines. You go, what are you, an expert? And you go, okay, I guess everyone should just shut up. I don't know.
You should make your own decision. I'm fine. Like, yeah. I don't think you should be forced to take it.
Yes, correct. I said the same thing before. I go, I don't. Like, I'll get it if I fucking have to, but it's just because I'm not a cautious person either way. Mm-hmm. I'm also not cautious with food.
Yeah.
If someone goes like, hey, that food has this and this in it, I go, yeah, okay, then I die. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I going to die? Then I die. But I just thought it was funny because, Fauci.
But anyways, my arm was fucking killing me for like 3 days. It hurt.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't lift my, today's probably the first day that's actually better. I couldn't lift my arm like over my head.
Yeah. Too fat. You gained weight.
Too fat. Yeah, I was just just that high.
Well, that's what she said she couldn't move.
And I literally was like, thanks, Fauci.
Couldn't go to work 2 days or whatever. But then my dad, he said, like, we were fine. He goes, better stock. Because she's tiny. So maybe that's
every
a factor.
person who I've spoken with, she's the only person who I've heard of who on the first dose had that kind of effect. And if that's like what the first dose did to her, goddamn, because the second dose is like notoriously.
Well, you know what doesn't make sense to me ever is they give the same amount of the fucking thing depending on your size. You go, okay, you're 350 pounds. She's 95 pounds.
Yeah,
and you go, why would she not be getting a fourth of the vaccine?
Well, again, because that's assuming that makes sense in the world of vaccines, and it might not. You could talk to someone who knows what they're talking about and you go, yeah, it doesn't work that way.
I don't think so. I think that they just
it's not like alcohol where you go, wait. If it's
How do you know?
I don't know, but I'm just saying you're assuming it's that way, and all I'm saying is like it just might not be like that. Maybe that's not how vaccines work. Where it's like, you can tell I'm like it's fucking coursing through my veins, and I'm just like,
yeah, this guy. That's what happens. You got the vaccine.
I use a Microsoft Surface now.
Well, that's why your arm was growing all the wool on it, so that's why you couldn't lift it. It's a fucking thick sheet of wool. Well, I saw that. It's funny because all these things sort of that. Seem like they're even conspiracy oriented in any sort of way. And a lot of times it does eventually get to the mainstream. Like CNBC or whatever released this article and it goes, regular exercise can reduce the risk of COVID. They did a big study and they're like, this is their big finding. And
Thanks, guys. You guys have been busy for the past year.
because they can't write this kind of shit because people would call them fat shaming, and they were like, they literally wait for everything. People argue about all this stuff, everyone gets, and then they wait for the whole thing, and then like a year later they go, you know, if you just stayed in shape, that'd be better. And everyone's like, oh, duh!
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you,
CNBC.
CNBC. Basically, Jocko fucking Willink or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah, what he said like the first week.
What he said week 1, he's on Fox News and everyone's like, look at this Nazi. So I'm like, oh, I can't be fat. And you're like, I mean, if you
can, but
yeah, you're more than welcome to.
More than likely to die.
But okay, so the one thing I don't know if I was saying this to you, but because I know this is okay. So I guess we're going back and forth on the vaccine thing or whatever. But the one thing that I was thinking about a lot that was kind of making me laugh is because I think a lot of people, everyone, even that likes to complain, they're such pussies, and you look at it in their normal life. Whereas I think I'm fucking a little more, I'll complain about shit, but I still, even with the mask, like I'm still fucking getting in trouble everywhere, going all that shit or whatever. And again, I don't need to be the fucking no mask guy, whatever. But my point is, like, I have so many people in my life that'll be like, this fucking lockdown's bullshit. And I agree. And then I go, okay, you want to meet up? And they go, my chick's really kind of nervous about, COVID or whatever. So I can't. I go, okay, there you go. I mean, you can't open up your fucking living room, and you're wondering why they can't open up the country. I go, no. And
like
again,
a bunch of people like you who are
and you go, but you go. That's the problem. Everyone's you.
Yeah.
If everyone fucking got their, if you know when the girls say they go on the sex strike or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what men's strike would be, the money strike or whatever, spending strike.
Yeah.
But if every dude fucking, because I would say if you went, this is my experience anyway, most of the situations, the girl's way more safe and the guy's like, oh, whatever. Mm-hmm. If every guy could get his girl on board with being, fine, the whole thing would be over. Right? Because I go, look at these people. They go, I think we should open this motherfucker up. And they go, you literally can't open up your backyard for a fucking barbecue with your friends.
No, there's a lot of guys. I go on Twitter and there's a lot of guys who are like,
well,
they're like, this lockdown should have been especially in Ontario, where they're like, this lockdown should have been 2 months of every single thing closed. Let's just get it over with. Enough of these half measures. And you're like, okay. It's just making you fucking squirrely. I mean, the one thing I can say is they could have never done it, but it's the hindsight.
Yeah, but those guys are girls. You know that Kurt Metzger theory where every comedian starts out as a girl and ends at a guy. He goes, that's those people are women.
Yeah.
So or feminine. So it's
like
if we're talking two lesbians, like who's the fucking masculine in the relationship? It's up to them to sort of
shorter hair one,
calm the fears down. The one with that's what they argue. I would say that because they had the most. In lesbian relationships, they have the highest level of domestic violence, and it's because they're arguing over who gets the brush cut. And then once they do, that's the dominant. But
it's a worthwhile fight.
You bring the other girl you have to bring the other girl to the barbershop with you, and she watches you get the fucking brush cut or whatever. and then when she's being bad, you put water on it, and then you go where it sort of sprays the water in their face. Anyways, I think there's a lot of people that. And again, there's a lot of those fucking commentators. They're like, we need to stand up or whatever. And I don't really ever think the answer is, go tell your boss to fuck off and, go.
No.
Don't go ruin your life. If you have a normal job, don't be on Facebook fucking ruining your life for nothing.
For nothing.
For 2 likes or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, on your own personal level, I think that everyone doing their part on the own personal level, the only thing you should be in charge of doing is get your girl under control.
Get your girl.
Get your bitch up.
Get your bitch under control.
That's where I sit on this. I go, it's not up to you to fucking yell at your politicians. It's not up to you but it is.
I mean, it's not the worst thing to yell at your politicians, but they're not paying attention to you.
Yeah, I mean, we had well, actually, let's talk about that in a second. But first, is Idris Elba black enough? Did you see that?
I saw something to that effect. It was someone in England said that? Or he was on the show Luther, and they said he was not black enough?
It's just, I like bringing these up because it always, it kind of just goes with my theory that all of their theories are just like internally unworkable. Mm-hmm. So Idris Elba on that show, I think I watched a few episodes of Luther. Yeah.
Show.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, but so Luther...
Not enough to remember, so no.
Right. Well...
I liked him on The Wire.
Basically, Yeah, the idea was he's not black enough, and the girls
pretty black on the
they're like he
Wire.
doesn't even eat jerk chicken. Yeah, he's pretty black.
He's
on the
like the
Wire.
blackest dude on earth on the Wire.
He's
so.
well, even
Maybe
then,
not.
because he kind of
Well, I guess
he's trying to sort of get out of that whole life, right?
But he's still in it though. He was the best on the Wire.
But he's very he's like the new modern in the Wire. He's the new modern hustler black guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wants to get into stocks, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like amazing, the idea of, okay, so we're gonna diversity, we can put the black guy on, and then the idea that he's not black enough, like just going to other people and basically by using stereotypes to be like, is Boeing Yang Asian enough? He didn't use chopsticks once. Like, if you look at his entire Instagram, he has 0 Raiden hats on.
Yeah. None of the rice hats or
his
whatever.
dad's not nearly racist enough to be an Asian guy. He's no typical thing. He's barely plays piano or whatever the fuck. So it's just
No
so
cello.
funny. Is this brown chick brown enough?
So what was the reason why they were saying he wasn't black enough?
Because
didn't have
he has white friends was one of the big things, and then
it's written by a black
and he doesn't
person,
eat
though.
Caribbean food.
But there's no way a white person's writing that article. That would be insane.
No,
unless
it's
it's
a
like
black
on the.
chick writing the
I was gonna
article.
say unless it's on like the Daily Stormer being like it just like it's like that has to be. I was like for sure that has to be a black chick, like non-binary black chick being like he's not black enough.
Yeah, they basically have.
And then they just go bust out all the stereotypes, being like, literally, you're like, if this was a white person who wrote this, you'd be like so angry and offended. And then
Yeah,
you're like,
imagine.
Yeah, imagine. But then it's like a woke black chick, and you're like, yeah, maybe he isn't black enough.
Yeah, maybe he isn't black enough.
didn't think
Know
about
what
it that
happened?
way.
DMX died, and she was like, "Now that's a black man."
Yeah.
He didn't say a single homophobic slur. Did you ever see the DMX stuff? Because it came out a little bit here and there when he came out, but he never really got killed on it that hard when he was alive. But what the song was, it was like, "I got no love for homo thugs." No. He has a whole song about. It's kind of like the Buju Banton thing where he has like, boom, boom, batty boy, and it's all about killing gay guys. He goes, how can you hang with a man who has sex with a man? Like stuff like that.
Yeah. It's like not even really like coded. It's just very like.
Oh, it's very, yeah. And he's barking a lot. And I don't know if he barks in that one, but DMX was the one celebrity that, and by the way, he probably did reincarnate back into dog form, which is.
He's currently a doggo.
Yeah, he's currently all DMX is
A
going
puppy
to
was
happen.
born in the past week. That's DMX.
On the race thing I saw, speaking of fucking Boeing Yang, just in the terms of
With that fucking sketch, the
Titanic thing.
Oh my god, dude! Everybody's like, this is the greatest, and it's all like women, and they're like, this is the greatest sketch ever. And then I watched it, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's.
I was like, what the fuck?
You know what I thought was funny, because I follow that stuff a little bit or whatever, but the funny part to me was still people are so wired to complain that even on that sketch there were plenty of comments, because I like to get in the comment section on the Michael Jackson with the popcorn
me too.
meme.
Like insensitivity about the fucking.
Oh, Danny's favorite is looking at female comedians on fucking Comedy Central.
Not just female comedians. No, that one show, what was it, Chad or whatever, that I keep saying.
Chad. Holy crap.
It's
This
a
is
chick from Saturday Night Live too, Nessie.
This is incredible.
Holy fuck. So if people don't know, it's on TBS. It's a show about like a 12-year-old boy played by a 40-year-old woman. And like the comments, honestly, like the comments are better than the show could ever be. Like the thing is, like, I get this weird joy from the comments, because I'm like, I can read like, 2 days worth of comments in 5 minutes, whereas like watching one episode is 30 minutes. And I'm laughing the whole time. I'm like, bang for your buck. I don't know if there's anything better than reading the comments of people shitting on crappy stuff.
Yeah, crappy stuff has a nice comment section.
Oh man, but like crappy stuff that like they really like hold their nose up, being like, this is important. Like they're really like think this is like an important show, and like it's really like, and you're just like, holy fuck, this looks bad.
So, the 40-year-old woman, and it starts her being, first of all,
It's called Chad. It's like
such a fucking Chad.
such a Chad.
Just a 40-year-old woman. Just the idea of
Like all these people are like, wait, so is she transgender? Like
no, she's not. She's just playing a
She's
boy.
just literally like, you have to suspend your.
It's literally Chris Lilly, but for real, and it's for progress. It's fucking Jamae
It's
for
so
real.
bad.
Dude, it's absolutely bonkers. You have so she's 40, and then she's talking about sex.
Yeah.
So she's like, having sex or whatever. So obviously she's talking about having sex with 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like imagine me, I'm playing a 13-year-old girl and I'm talking to like other 13-year-old girls being like, can't wait to suck that dude's cock.
But on TBS.
and it's to be brave.
You're right.
When you talk about, this was the final form of, oh yeah, this is, Hollywood has lost their tree, where people went in there, pitched that, and they were like, how does this work? Do we have to make this?
Well, it is because they were like,
are we allowed to say no to this?
Basically what it was is they were like, we want to make something with this person. And then she was like, here are my best 5
You should have seen her other ideas.
Yeah, like, here are my best 5 ideas. And they go, whoa, best 5, huh? Okay.
Idea 1, I play a transgendered baby and I'm Muslim. And she goes, that my Muslim face.
How's that funny? And you go, how's it not funny?
Okay, picture this. Total Chad.
Total Chad.
It's me.
It's me. In
Yeah.
prosthetics. I'm 12.
And she looks weird too because it's a 40-year-old playing a boy.
Yeah.
She plays a nerdy boy. It is fucking
The whole thing
bonkers.
is pretty bizarre.
But on the fucking
But the comments, money. Go look.
comments are money.
Go
in
look
the
at the
bag.
comments, and the thing is, because I like looked at it, then they keep advertising it to me. So,
Oh, yeah.
so it's like it's the gift that keeps on giving. Because one, they're losing a nickel every time I get to go through the comments,
Right.
get reminded to go through the comments again, and then I get even more joy than the last time. And TBS just lost 5 cents. It's like,
They're literally promoting to you to go fucking make fun of it.
yeah, it's great.
They're like, you're in the half of their algorithm is just paying people to go make fun
Yeah,
of
I'd like to
thing.
just get a good chuckle out of the comments.
That's the thing where, I talk to the industry people and they go, oh, go pitch to this network. And you see those shows and you go, I'm probably good.
Yeah, you're like,
I
no,
feel
I
like
don't
we're
think so.
on the internet. We just got a new studio. I don't need to deal with none of this stuff. But the Boeing Yang thing, I still saw, listen, I didn't think it was great or whatever, but I did think that Boeing Yang, I go, pretty good comedic actor.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what
I'm
I
not
thought.
even shitting on him.
Okay,
No.
I thought I watched.
I was
that.
just like the sketch. I was
Yeah,
like,
it was
this
whatever.
is
It's
the
about the
sketch.
Titanic, and I go, but I
And he
did
plays
think
the
his
iceberg, and it's
I
about,
did
like,
think
cancel
his
culture.
fucking timing and stuff. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah.
But my point was that there was still people in the comments being like, "Do you know how many people died on the Titanic? This is in poor taste." But I'm not. This wasn't one.
I agree, but I think those people are literally the people who are so mad about. They're like all anti. Like woke people who are so mad that every time they try and enjoy something, the other people take the other side of that.
I normally
I'm
normally with you, but I didn't think so on this.
I disagree
I think
on
this
that.
was
I think
pronouns and bio complaining, and their brains are so fried that they've went full internet Karen. And this is,
See, I didn't see the pronouns in bio, but I didn't look that far.
the internet is their coffee shop now.
I thought,
right?
yeah.
They're when they go to watch a sketch on Twitter, it's their meal that just came and it's too cold.
Mm-hmm.
They have to find something wrong, or else this is normally I'm with you.
Only because he's gay, I'm like, I can't see the pronouns. They don't attack their own like that.
I wish I could agree with you, but I was looking through the comments and I go, no,
I saw the
this
same
is
thing. I
people
saw
that
the
are
comments,
trained.
and I remember being like, people were being like, yeah, and I agree. Some of them are for sure legit, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. So, and you go, the one thing that you take from that is you go, there's no reason to listen to any of this stuff. And that's that thing where I go back and forth on, because when you talk to someone, Bill Burr, he kind of always says this, and he's like, if you just ignore these people, they go away. And he's sort of right, but he's sort of wrong, because it's like, well, he's never really got like fired from anything big, and we know tons of people who have. We know tons of people who lost their jobs and all that stuff. So we know tons of people have been kicked off the internet for good. So you go, well, no, there are real consequences to an internet mob kind of getting after you. But I saw recently a thing, and this is how cooked these people. I saw an article that said, white supremacist rally, and no one showed up, right? So remember when Trump used to do the rallies, and then if it's big, they go, look at all the Nazis, and if it's small, they go, no one even likes them.
Nobody even likes him, right?
They go, look at this.
Oh,
We're good to go.
we're good.
Yeah, but if no one shows up, they dunk on him. Like, look at fucking this bitch couldn't get anyone to show up at his thing, right?
Yeah.
But they saw that they were dunking on the white supremacist rally. That was
Because there was a rally that nobody showed up to.
yeah. So basically,
It's weird that they wouldn't be like, great, there's
look-
no white supremacists.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how is your logical conclusion? Like, oh, we might have overblown this thing, and that's what I thought. I go, well, good, right? I guess I think we can all agree that a Klan rally happening and not high attendance, that sounds like
That's
probably
for sure.
progress. And they go, Yeah, well, this just proved that deplatforming works. Like the amount that
of course.
They go,
They
no!
have to give themselves a pat on the back somehow. They can't, because when all the Charlottesville...
we did this.
And they go, oh, white supremacy, America has this crazy Klan, and they were like, and then people were like, with the facts would be like, yeah, there's not really that many people in the actual Klan in America. And it's these rallies usually, they've been going on for as long as I can remember in my life, that they've had these rallies, and there's 30 people, and they're like these fucking, backcountry hicks, and they're like, and then they're like, no, there's millions, and you're like, there's not millions of them, and all this does is just prove what those people were saying then. It's just it's not the thing is they're basing it on the fact that there were a million,
Nazis.
And then it's back down to
supply of Nazis.
But they're saying oh, there were a million of them 3 years ago when Trump was
10 days ago.
10 days ago, there was a million, and then in December, and now they're just all gone. Look at that.
Or do you think that the Klan is even sort of watching the internet, and they sort of thought it was going to be a little bigger? That's why they rented a bigger space so it looked empty. Because they're reading all these articles, white supremacy's at an all-time high.
Yeah, they were like, man, we were fucking in the red on this big time.
So it's
they had all their merch tables,
just grilled cheeses for 20,000 people. They thought it was going to be the Capitol riots.
We really
all over
should
again.
not have rented out Madison Square Garden for this. That was expensive.
We got to stop reading BuzzFeed for our target.
Expensive gaff right there.
I used to always talk about that idea that, because they go, oh, everyone's so racist or whatever, and then the internet's like, this guy's the most racist guy, and then the Klan recruits him, and then he shows up. You go, what do you think? You go, I don't know. I just thought COVID was a bit much. And then the guy that brought him there, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, I swear he was being racist the whole way here. I'm telling you, this guy's racist.
Yeah.
What the fuck you bringing me this guy for? There's 80 articles about how he's racist. And
he's the most racist guy that exists.
I know. So there's almost nothing that...
That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed the deplatforming works angle, though. If you told me how do you think people responded to it, I wouldn't have been deplatforming.
Yeah, all of us yelling at them.
Because it's again, most of the real Klan people you see at these rallies historically aren't really
they're not
Twitter.
on a platform.
They're not Twitter. They're on a fucking yeah, I mean they're on a weird maybe
they're on fucking
float platform.
89 Chan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which by the way, I've watched. Did you see that?
No, what the QAnon?
Joe the Shark told us.
Yeah,
to watch
no, I haven't watched
doc.
it. No, is it good?
Yeah, but there's almost the interesting part is you watch it because I guess there's a lot of crossover with our comedy world. I knew everyone.
A lot of people.
Yeah, it was kind of you go, oh, it's that guy, the Jared Holt guy, that fucking canceler. Everyone you saw, and it was a lot of smarmy cancelers.
Was Ethan in there?
No, but they talked about they bring everything back.
Gamer.
Oh, they make Gamergate.
That's what Joe was saying.
The full fucking it's like the center of the whole operation. So basically, their hypothesis is the guy that started 8chan or bought 8chan from there's this small disabled guy, and he started it, and then this other guy in fucking Malaysia or some shit bought 8chan off this guy. He's got this weird compound. His son was the moderator, and they think that guy's Q, and they make a pretty fucking good case for it. And there's all these things. So basically Q was writing all these posts, and then there's a discrepancy where everyone says his posts started to look all different. And I mean, if someone's some big, knows way more about this than me, they might have watched this doc and been like, oh, these idiots.
These are.
But the guy who was making the doc was fairly impartial. He was equally nice to every person he was talking about. He never really tried
He's an actual journalist.
He was an actual journalist. He was never. He wasn't trying to make a
refreshing.
side. He changed his opinion 3 times during the doc.
Yeah.
Which took him 3 years. He even said, he goes, I don't know if these places should exist, but I don't know if suppressing them is good. That was his position to start. He was a fucking journalist. It felt like a real
Nazi sympathizer. Is what
a Nazi sympathizer. So then basically, then this guy took over, and then he started doing his own version of that on Twitter, got 600,000 followers, became a huge guy leading up to the Capitol thing. And the big speculation is that he's essentially Q, I guess.
Interesting.
But they never were able to catch him on it.
Right.
So, but
the son of the 8chan guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this. Where do you watch that? HBO Max?
Yeah, I watched it on Amazon, but I thought it was really good. But the interesting kind of stuff about it was, because there's always that debate of whatever, are you free speech or no free speech? It's this absolute thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it is kind of interesting. You see these things and the shooters all posted their manifestos there, and you go, oh, maybe they posted it. I don't know. But the interesting thing, I think, that debate is probably oversimplified, and which is why one of the reasons I like comedy, because The idea of the speech is like there should be no boundaries, and there's a big political conversation to happen, and it is a little bit of like dorm room convo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little fucking brings me back to being kind of 19 having all those conversations. But as a comedian, it's very relevant. It's very relevant right now. But with stand up and comedy and the world we're into, it's almost the wrong conversation a little bit, because if you think about it, stand-up's never about having no boundaries. The truth is, if you do this gig, there's boundaries there. If you do this gig, there's boundaries there. I mean, everyone, the truth is, everyone probably...
I mean, if you bomb, you just went over the boundaries.
Yeah, and it's all about finding what those
It's just
rules
they're
are.
not defined, like... So it's like you have to actually feel them out, and it's like...
Well, they can sometimes be defined. If you're doing a corporate, they go,
sure.
Those boundaries are defined for you. So I think that really the issue is more just how fucking lopsided and corrupt it is. Because if they, the problem is, I think that, and some people have this problem, but they go, they enforce it here, but they don't enforce it here. And, even the Q thing, they go, okay, no conspiracy theories or whatever. And then they just deleted literally thousands and thousands of their channels. But, the entire news media had the same thing with Russia, and they were never proven or whatever, right?
Dude, this thing actually, huge thing came out today with the Daily Beast or whatever. Did you see that?
No, what happened?
So you remember the bounties?
No.
Remember there was that whole thing where like literally fucking they were killing Trump on it. How Trump had like Russia was, because they were like Trump was friendly with Russia, and then Russia was putting out bounties on U.S. soldiers' heads. Like Russia was to basically like kill, I think it was like to the Taliban or something, to kill U.S. soldiers. And like it was being used nonstop against Trump. I'm pretty sure it came up in the debate with Biden about these bounties. And then like the Daily Beast came out today and they're like, yeah, that was
Total bullshit.
Yeah, whoops. I guess it was a total lie.
Oops.
They just straight up go, yeah.
Daily Beast was one of the main guys from this Q doc.
Yeah, and
The
Daily Beast was one of the main ones that was spreading this whole like Russia bounties thing, which got like dude, if you were on Twitter during that time, like people are trumping, everybody's like, how could this guy's a traitor? He's like, Russia's putting out bounties on U.S. soldiers' heads and he's just like fine with them and he's not, has no issues with them. And then you're like, yeah, it was a complete lie.
Yeah, so I think...
And
honestly,
Biden came out today and said it was like, yeah, we have no evidence of it.
That's... Yeah, so
but it's like the damage, but the purpose
the damage is done. I mean, we said
done,
it's called the dirty double when they release the article and then you release the thing after you've done the damage, the dirty double.
Yeah, nobody cares. It's like
you release the retraction.
So what? It's like Trump's already out of office. Like as far as they're concerned, you're like, yeah, it was worth it. It's
yeah, so the rules are rigged.
There's no penalties.
If you go, hey, here's the thing. We live in a country where the government, here's the organization that's going to tell you what to think about COVID. And you're not allowed to question it on these platforms. But it's doesn't work like that. It's like here, there is no things, there's no transparency. It really is just the speech is just used as a tool to conveniently get rid of everyone at any time.
Yeah.
So that's really the issue. It's like, when you go back to the,
bad incentive structure too, though. Like for the Daily Beast, it's like what penalty are they receiving? Other than people on
Why are they not kicked off?
People on the right are like, yeah, so you guys were wrong, but we don't listen to your shit anyways because you guys are we never like you. People maybe like in the middle are like, I have doubts about the Daily Beast, but all the people on their base was like, good job.
Daily
like,
queef.
Yeah, but they're like, all the people who are on their side are like, you know what? Still glad you did that.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Trump out. So it's like, there's a really perverse incentive structure.
Which is fine, but it's like now they have,
there's no fines. Like, well, I mean, if you went on like the news and said something crazy, like as far as I used to understand, like the FTC would fine you. Like if you say fuck on Fox News, like the FTC fines you.
Yeah.
Like there's like a monetary system that.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily agree with that either. So I don't know what the exact fucking solution is.
I don't know either.
It's definitely a complicated thing and people want to get the government involved. And I've talked about this before, but I don't really agree with that. But when it goes back to stand up, it's like, that's the fun part about stand up. It really is, or comedy. It's not about, being able to say whatever you want. It really is. If you, like I said, if you go to a fucking corporate and they're like, you're not allowed to swear, like just maybe I'll say it like
exactly.
that fucking kind of gives me a fucking, you get off on that a little, right?
And it's also, everybody knows the rules. It's like you're right on the edge.
Yeah. And then the next part of that is I think people get into this thing where they go, well, then isn't it about truth? Because I think that comedy, obviously you want to be fucking saying truths and, saying shit that people are, kind of almost got there, but you kind of say it better and stuff like that. But also on top of that, everything has kind of two truths. And maybe this is getting esoteric, but okay. One that fucking, I know that Ari and Nate Bargatze and those guys always like to talk about the peanut butter thing in terms of stand up, where there was a while where the kids, when the peanut allergy first started, right? Everyone started having peanut allergies. The kind of like edgy take was to say that these kids should die. You know, Louis was saying that, like, maybe these kids weren't meant to live, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's almost like that became so acceptable that it's almost like the contrarian take is like, these kids should die, so you shouldn't eat. It's almost back to whatever. So, and the truth, and the real truth is, and that's kind of the thing that I know that a lot of people kind of bring up that analogy, but the part that I'm saying is why there's still truth. Everyone's thought both. Like, everyone's thought both. And on most things.
Yeah, people are like, I don't want to be infringed on. And other people are like, it's literally the COVID thing. It's like, some people are like, I don't want you to tell me what to do. And then other people are like, well, you need to do this for the benefit of everybody else.
Yeah, everyone said, you know, well, I don't want the kid to die. And everyone said, fuck these kids.
I mean, that's literally COVID. People are like, some people are like, fuck your grandma. Then other people are like, I'll take this vaccine so your grandma doesn't die.
And I think that even within that, though, everyone's kind of been through both versions themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've been through both of those kind of things on lots of different ones. So you go, what's the truth? Well, it depends. I mean, everyone's been like, my fucking stupid bitch girlfriend, and everyone's like, you know. Yeah. You know, fine.
Maybe sprinkle some peanuts in her birth control.
That's why it's same thing with people go, I think a lot of times when people are so wrapped up in their fight or whatever, you know, they can't watch things, and you'll make fun of both sides, and they go, oh, this is both sidism. Like, you know, in the two shirt videos, a lot of people go, this both sidism bullshit. And
I got fucking killed on this on the fucking-omics for years.
They said you're a Danny Fence sitter.
Yeah, you're always fence. And I'm like, no, I can see both sides of an argument. And you guys are like, you sitting on the fence. I was like, I'm not taking necessarily a position. I just understand.
Okay, so you
arguments.
actually are a both sider. But I'm saying that the truth is,
I mean, I take sides. I'm just saying I understand the other side.
No, but you're talking about something. There's two a bit different things. Both sidism that I would agree is if you go in and you say, this is why both sides are right. So you go, you know, if you made the video where you go, you know, the right, we just want to do this, and we just want to lower taxes, and we just want this, which actually makes sense. But the left, we just want to do this, and we're actually this. So that's like I see both sides.
Yeah.
I'm saying in comedy, if you're going, every group has things to be made fun of. If you go, you know, when I was making fun of bass players, if you go hang out with bowlers, you could probably come back and you go, why is every bowler fucking like,
yeah, of course.
Like, yo, you ever notice that like every bowler doesn't stop talking about his fucking glory day, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Why is every bass player kind of this? Why is so if you're looking at Republicans to make fun of them, you go, you ever notice that they all kind of fucking do this, or like they all, so I think,
or like how black people always, no, okay. you go,
oh, he's going to get into his black people steal bit.
No, you're going to replace black people with anything, but it's just funny.
Black people are great and white people are great.
Yeah, exactly. They're all great.
So I do think there is a difference between making fun of both and saying that both are right.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean?
I was never saying both are right. I always have a position. I'm just saying I understand the other side of
you understand
why someone
what
thinks
they think.
I understand why they think they're right. Why they think they're right.
You go.
I still be like, this is what I think, but I understand why they think.
Well, I think that goes back to like even writing characters and all that stuff. It's like you can't write characters you don't understand, and so many people do that. They go, which is
why I only write cis white men. What we're allowed to write, Ryan.
That's why Danny only writes like Chris Farley parodies. But you ever see like guys that are bad with chicks or whatever, right? A lot of times it's like, because they don't understand, they'll be like, oh, she just wants this. Oh, she just doesn't want to be with me because of this. You go, that's not the reason.
No.
Oh, you don't get them at all. It's like, you see 2 seconds, you go, dude, she has a boyfriend. She's into someone else. She just didn't say, you could.
So many things.
Where it's like, it's just about, you don't have to fucking agree with someone to understand why they think the way they do.
Yeah.
Get in their head like fucking Hannibal.
You're like Ryan Hannibal. You go, put down that truck rental application. You don't need it, son.
They also, so my one biggest point and I had an article that kind of went with this, but I don't even know if we'll get to it, but so when they talk about the fucking Gamergate thing, right? All these guys kind of go on, and this is the article that I'll mention it, but basically they said there's this thing on Twitter called Now Stop, and it's April 19th, and they're doing a boycott of Twitter for women, right? And
sick.
It's so funny.
We have a joke about that in the script.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. They're like,
we're
guys
gonna have
are
a
gonna
day
say-
without men, and you're like, so you're just gonna have a day off while we work? And you're like,
Dude, every time I see shit like that, the meme world just fucking loves it. Girls, it's April 19th is National Peace and Quiet Day.
exactly.
There's like the fucking, but they're doing it to show Twitter. They think the traffic.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be missing them. Like like they're gonna be able to take more than 24 hours from fucking chirping.
Right, of them chirping. But in the thing, so they go Twitter. They go, a woman is abused on Twitter every 30 seconds.
I would have thought way higher than that. I thought like every 1,000 every second.
It kind of needs the music, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, the Sarah McLachlan. It goes, a woman on Twitter is abused every 30 seconds. This is a stat. This is a chilling statistic. Online abuse of women is now so prevalent that we have come to see it as conventional. But it, but
Oh, I can't believe it's real.
this is fucking real, dude.
Oh, fuck, it's funny.
Now Stop, it's called. But it is not normal, and we must stand against it. It's the United Nations defines violence against women as any act of gender-based violence that results in or likely to result in physical, sexual, or mental harm. So if it's mental,
But does this include like girls cyberbullying other girls?
Well, you know,
it must.
more important.
No
so
way they've parsed that.
they have not, and this is what goes back to the Gamergate and all of that stuff. And listen, there's a fucking dirty dog internet community that they're fucking, you know, it's like
100%.
when you're watching the Q thing, you're like, yeah, it's a bunch of autistic people that you don't want. Listen, I've had we both had it, 100 fucking people yelling at you a day.
Yes.
And we're not getting
I've had 8chan yelling at me over that cutie shirt for
Yeah.
like 3 straight days. It's like I've had it. I know that.
yeah,
world.
and you fucked a kid. Which
And I mean, that's they had a point.
But so you have these people that, like this person, for example, and the Jared Holt in the video, these fucking professional cancelers or whatever, they run internet mobs at people. I've watched it. They quote tweet people nonstop and they go, get him.
Yeah, get him. Yeah.
Get him. Like even
Or her.
And this is the thing. They go, abuse against women causes online harm. And they go, the nature of Twitter's default allows for easy cyberbullying through tactics like piling on. And the irony is, oftentimes women are standing up for equality, and this is when they get it. And you go, when you say standing up for equality, do you mean doxing someone for something they did? I mean, listen, Twitter is a fucking degenerate place. And if you want, being a commentator that argues on Twitter is a fucking not a fun life.
No.
You just have people yell at you all fucking day long. And you go, but these people get in that game. They go, fuck this guy. Look at this piece of shit. He said this. And then someone goes, you know what? Fuck this girl. And they go, ah!
Totally, yeah.
It's the little brother.
100%. They're like they want to get in on it, and then they're like, okay, well, this is what being in this arena is like.
They come in, but if it would be
Like the
worse,
negativity that Mark Dice guy receives, like again,
Exactly.
he puts a ton of it out.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of it is deserved, but like I sometimes I'll see like one of his tweets come up and I'll go through the comments and holy shit, like to be able to like take that,
A lot
like
of those guys
he
have
must
that,
be
yeah.
such a sociopath to like that not affect him.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
That's fucking like the fact is like there's all this energy in the world going directing at you to be like, you are a piece of shit. Fuck you, die.
I think
all day,
some
and
of
he
those
reads
people don't. Well, maybe they do. They do read it.
Of course, because he's engaging with it.
He engages back.
Because he thinks it's funny, which is fine.
But you got to be a little bit.
But you
screwed
got to
loose
be like
to have it not affect you at
all. Like to go to bed and you be like, what's tomorrow gonna bring? Like.
No, 100%. You go to
But
bed.
again,
like sleeping just completely clear after as you speaking.
It's sport. It's like you think
You
of it
think
as
of it like
sport.
that. You have to.
It's just like it's sport. Like,
But so if they wanted to enter the sport and debate, but it's like these people go one further. Like these people in the doc that were kind of even crying about, oh, these people harassed me. And again, I'm not part of any of the, like I wasn't even, like I thought a lot of these things were funny, but I don't know if I know the intricacies of them well enough to really even make an adequate synopsis. But a lot of these movements, even Gamergate, that started because they go, we're going to take all your games and change them. It's like the mob that came back at them was a response to them saying we're gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
And they were just like tired of being fucked with.
Exactly. I mean, again, it just depends who you ask. It's like
It depends who you ask.
Is the like you ask one person on one side, they give you their, answer, and the other person gives you their answer, and you're like.
But they completely missed this in this doc. The guy didn't. The guy, but just when they interview people, he didn't comment.
Was
I
that
honestly thought he
Anita
was fair.
Sarkeesian chick in there? She's
yeah,
the main
yeah,
chick,
yeah,
right?
and she was kind of like, I get the hate threats and death threats, and like,
but it's also
dude,
like
I've had a fucking ton of that. You've had a ton of that shit.
Yeah, it also made her famous,
right?
But
But they're kind of like, well, it shouldn't happen to girls, I guess, is what happens, and you go. I mean, you're making a good case for girl Twitter and guy Twitter. So basically, there should be girl Twitter and guy Twitter.
Yeah.
Basically, and then girl Twitter will probably be more of that.
It'll be the cattiest. No, we all know it's like so in Toronto. I'm sure it's similar here, but there was a Facebook group, a stand-up comedian Facebook group called Toronto Stand-Up Community, and then the girls started their own community, and it literally imploded. It's supernova. Like they had it for 6 months, and then they had to shut it down.
And we all had 40 moles.
Yeah, well, not 40, but we had moles. But it's like it literally had to get like there was so much infighting. Way more than the original group that they had to shut it down.
Way more.
That they had to straight up just like go scorched earth.
And
this thing's over.
they became so puritanical that they would get mad at someone for doing a show with the wrong promoter that they deemed
or
unacceptable.
someone who was like or someone who was like had was like sexually what they deemed to be like maybe sexually harass someone, even though it could be as much as like asking someone on a date. Maybe like that person's a sexual harasser if you do their show.
Or worse, if you have a show and you put them on your show, you're blacklisted.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
So basically, all the girls, and it was so funny because the corner, the place that we did a lot, they no Twitter dayed themselves out of our club.
Yeah, exactly.
They all, and
then they were like, we don't want to do it. And then some of them started showing back up, being like, they're like, can we do your comedy club?
And then they had these people had the audacity to then write articles being like, there's no girls at this comedy club.
Yeah, you're like, you guys are honestly,
you unionized against it.
Yeah, you guys are you're boycotting the club. It's like, yeah, you as a gender are boycotting a club. Yeah, there's not a lot of girls. You don't say. Fuck, I forgot about all this. That's funny. Shit.
Dude, it's so funny because girls cross each other so fast.
I know.
Dude, if we had a group with like 10 guys from the corner, no one would be screenshotting that and sending it to chicks.
Hell no.
But like
sending it to chicks?
I would be hanging out with a chick on like a drive to a show. It would take her 15 minutes to be like, want to see what's going on in the girl group?
Totally. These chicks are vipers.
Oh, shit. That's great. That's the good shit.
That's the good shit right there.
Okay, so another hilarious thing is that the guy who's the main guy, he's half Asian, right? Mm-hmm. And they live in the middle of somewhere in Asia. I think it's Malaysia, but I could be wrong on that. And then he's been running, 8chan, which they had to change to 8kun, Kun, because the main guy. So basically, the main guy that started it in the wheelchair was starting a whole campaign against him, and then they said, "Okay, if we change the name, will you stop your campaign?" And he said, "Yes." They met.
So what's
up,
8chan?
shook hands. 8kun.
What redirects? What if you go to 8kun?
I don't know if you can go to it anymore. I mean, after I might have been taken down after all this stuff. Well, I don't know. Maybe after, because they had to all, talk in court or whatever. And this guy's like a wild man. Mm-hmm. So he's supposed to go to court to do what Zuckerberg did. And he went and like wore a Q pin and told them to fuck themselves. And
really,
he's
the Malaysian guy.
Yeah, he's like he's like a Roger Stone type. But
they brought him in from Malaysia to America to testify.
Well, he's American.
Oh, gotcha.
And whatever. So, but his son who runs it, he's a real funny prototype because he's half Asian. He does karate. It's almost like Napoleon Dynamite style. Yeah. So he brings the he brings the cameraman and he's got this stick that he punches. Yeah. And he was like, I've been doing karate my entire life. And he makes the camera guy watch him like punch a stick. And
is he autistic?
Well, they all are.
But like, is he like kind of? more out there? Like not like.
No, he's probably less out there.
Okay, interesting.
I mean, than the most autistic people, I'd say this guy's more on the human. He seems smart, put it that way. But I guess they could all be smart. But
yeah.
But he's just such a caricature of a fucking nerdy internet guy. He brings the stick and he makes the camera guy watch him stick, and then he says he does yoga, and they get a shot of him like standing on the top of the mountain with his legs crossed, and he's doing his yoga stuff. So he goes, you have to do this so you can get back in those chat rooms and fucking deal with the shit that we.
Oh, like that. It's like that's what it's about for him.
Dude, he does like a Rocky montage so he could get in there and then be like, you're an N-word, you're a fucking N-word. You freaking up an N-word.
Wait, is he moderating it?
Yeah, he moderates it, but he fucking dips his toe in from time to time. And then allegedly he's dipping his toe in a lot running the whole Q thing.
And he's Q.
But Q was keeping the whole thing alive.
Yeah.
Q was on 4chan and they weren't giving him they weren't treating him right, so he went to 8chan and his followers all went with him. And then all these other people made these whole businesses off of Q. Like there's all these,
I'm
some
aware
fucking
of the
dude.
cottage industries are cute.
A lot of chicks, a lot of like boomery moms that have
a lot of people who came after me with the cutie stuff were all cute people.
They were all cute.
I was in all these QAnon groups because the thing with QAnon is it's an anti-pedophilia thing, right? That's a big cornerstone of it. So then I was in all these QAnon groups as like a pedophile for this novelty T-shirt. Like literally, like we got another one.
My favorite is because Danny's Jewish. They go, he's rubbing it in our face. Because Danny posted a pizza with the pizza.
Yeah, I know.
They were having a field day, but they're a lot older. It's not as much of these, younger kind of internet savvy people that are sort of crossover with our world. It's way more of
30s.
No, dude. Well, whatever.
Thing,
not in this doc. In this doc, we're talking 55.
Yeah.
That was the gist of what they showed.
I mean, the main thing I will say is like, a lot of them are on Facebook, which is like, that is just an older demographic.
Facebook's a big hub for these people. But so the guy loves Diogenes. And I think that's what I wanted to say because we always make fun of it.
You're in the barrel.
So Diogenes is Diogenes. Is that
Diogenes
it? He's this philosopher. And he's basically, they make him, if you're into Diogenes, it's kind of like this guy was so fucking sick. He showed up and he just went to the market and he took a shit in the middle of the market and people go, why do you do that? And he goes, the dogs do it, then why can't I?
Yeah.
And they go, the guy was so dope, dude. Like they love him, right? They say the quotes, but he wouldn't wear clothes. He would wear a barrel.
Yeah.
And then me and Danny were saying that was the original shirt that you get in a beer case. This guy,
you wear the beer case.
This guy's unbearable. Can you imagine of a friend? You're back in the Roman times. You're just partying or whatever. You go to a party and he's like, after the fucking wine's done, he's like, do you guys mind? He goes, oh, he wears the barrel around, gets on the roof, starts reading scripts and stuff like that.
He's the Denver Broncos super fan. The dude who wears the barrel.
Right. He's like the friend
wacky
in your
party
group.
guy.
He's the wacky party guy, but that's annoying.
Yeah.
Like, that guy would probably not get invited anywhere.
So how did he come up?
He loves them. Like
who does? Oh,
the guy who does the karate.
The H-N dude.
The guy who does karate thinks Diogenes fucking rules.
Who's basically Q.
Yeah, and he's quoting him because he's the one of those things. Socrates
And
goes, I'll give you anything you want in the world. And he goes, just you name it. And he goes, I want you to get out of my light. That's all he needed. He didn't need anything. With this guy, the only thing he needs is his message boards.
Right. Some electricity.
So Diogenes would be the most. I cannot think of anyone that'd be more annoying that would show up to your fucking, like, they would have philosopher conventions. So imagine we had like a comedy convention. I guess it's Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, basically.
But he doesn't he seems cool. But they show up, wearing a fucking barrel, talking to your wife, and he's shitting on the floor. And you go,
JJ.
Well, our buddy too. He goes, he's sick, and you go, this is who you would like, the fucking lamest philosopher in the history of the world. Not all of his things were just like, why can't I do this? And you go, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, we're all just grass. So why can't I have a bunch of grass taped to my body? Aren't we all just the ground? And you go, oh, yeah, dude. Anyways, great talking to you.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah, good seeing you. It's been good catching up since college. Glad you're still huh?
Still this guy, huh?
So anyways, that was fucking... These guys were a fucking handful. But you know what? I was in the chat groups with those Toronto comedy boys. Because you know how it's always this, what I was saying with the racism stuff or whatever, the white supremacy rally.
Yeah.
You know where there's real racism is allegedly big time the prostitution community. So one of my buddies is a pretty big John.
Yeah,
I know. I won't say his name publicly. Who's the John?
This comic in Toronto used to always prank call Alex Wood. He used to always prank call escorts because there's a big thing with escorts where they say no black men.
Right, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
And he said he
used to prank call them all the time.
Well, he says he tells people that he's Cuban. He said he tells girls he's Cuban. Then the girl shows up. He goes, "You're not what you look like in your picture." He goes, "You're bigger than your picture, so whatever." that's what he says.
Yeah, that's a known thing. In
In
the prostituting community.
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, he says, I'm not a John like you. You know a little bit more about it than me. And then he says he's with these two prostitutes. And they're telling him about stocks. He goes to us. He goes, "Did you guys put money in the stock market? These hookers were telling me they're making a killing in the stock."
See what Dogecoin is at?
No, is it killing it?
Dude, is that like earlier today we had this meeting or whatever. It's like 19 cents.
Yeah.
It was less than 1 cent in December.
Yeah, so it's a fucking...
It's what I'm starting to think about it is not that I still won't buy it or anything, but it's like, it's the one way you can kind of, people have figured out a way to make money off of like enjoying memes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're betting on memes.
And the more money you make on Dogecoin, you just keep posting the memes about Dogecoin. And then like there is this network effect of like, it's this viral meme.
It's kind of what the Barstool thing is saying.
But it's tied to like this coin. And so then people like the memes and they like the memes, they buy the coin goes up and it's like.
Well, tell me about your new thing that you were saying, because I actually thought this was interesting in the NFT world.
I was listening to this podcast with this guy Chris Dixon, who works for Andreessen Horowitz, which is like their big like tech investment thing, and it's called Rally.io, and it's built on Ethereum, and it's a token that you can basically, it's for creators specifically. It's almost like to cut Patreon out of the equation. It's another way to just get rid of middlemen.
Well, Patreon's a little different because you're paying for a specific thing, which, by the way, patreon.com/theboyscast. We're going to be adding more episodes. I think we're going to continue this one onto the Patreon in a little second, too. I think once we get the studio, we're going to be doing 2 a week, change the format a little bit. But this is, things are popping off. So you're going to want to be on that Patreon.
So this rally thing.
It's not replacing Patreon.
Not replacing Patreon. No. I don't know, man. This guy is like, he is not.
Patreon.com/theboyscast. Moving on.
Yeah. No. But listen, so this is what he thinks.
I got you.
Thinks about it is he goes, so you issue your own token. So in this case, you'd issue the boys token. Okay. People who want to support you instead of buying Patreon, giving you money to Patreon, they can still do it.
No, but you get Patreon. You're buying extra episodes is what you're paying for.
But again, you still do the extra episodes. You're getting the extra episodes
if you only have the coin.
But you can only get them for the tokens. So it's like, so they buy the tokens. It's basically Disney money, right? But the difference with it is that so you can only use these tokens, but you can cash them in at any time.
So,
right?
but if more people invest in me, if everyone's like Ryan's the guy. But then my thing goes up. Is that the idea?
Essentially, yeah, because
so you can
there's
make
a
money
finite,
on liking someone.
So it also gives you the element.
Why would you want a finite though? Because why would you want a finite amount of people?
Well, a finite amount of tokens.
How many tokens?
It would be a lot. Like it would be. I don't know. There might be inflation in the tokens, like there are in other tokens. That he didn't. I only researched it for. I heard him on the podcast. I looked at it for like maybe 20 minutes. Portugal the Man has a token, and their token's a lot higher than when it first issued. But it's also so it's like you could be like they do like a Discord chat where like the whole band will be like, hey, you can talk if you have these tokens, you can talk to us in the Discord, and we'll do a Discord. You can buy merch where it's like you can only buy the merch with the tokens. And then, but also a feature of the tokens is that you can like say like, hey, I see this Ryan Long guy. You're like, I think he's going to be a big star. Not for me, but I think he's going to be a big star. I want to invest in him. I'm just going to buy the token.
I think I'd be good at picking.
That's what I'm saying. And so it's like,
so
say you're like, I'm not into Portugal the Man. You might be, but you could go online and see all the chatter about Portugal the Man and be like, I think there's going to be a huge band in 5 years.
You would have called, if you called Jordan Peterson out of the gate, if you called fucking 6ix9ine out of the gate.
Exactly. You buy 6ix9ine coin out of the gate. It's like, you can just bet on that person. It's the only real way. And this guy, like, he's like.
You know how many people when I first moved to New York go, I wish I could like invest in you. Like,
and so this is how you can. Is you can literally.
A lot of people said that exact thing.
And so you can literally tokenize yourself And he says, he's like, this is going to be the greatest 20. And this guy like,
I love it.
Called all like, he's like, they're crazy investors in all like crazy crypto things. He's like called NFTs like way before all this shit happened. He's like,
so how long till
he's like, this is the next big thing. And he's like, I think it's going to be the greatest artistic like renaissance for the next,
I love it.
For the next 20 years. You need to have a, you have to go make one. You just go to Rally.
But no. How do you have to have like a crypto wallet to buy it?
You probably have to have a MetaMask, which is really easy. It's like an extension on a Chrome.
Everyone's going to have one of these soon.
Like you could get it's easy.
I love it.
I have a MetaMask. And you could like, you just go, all you would have to do is you go to rally.io and you just make a boys token.
Okay.
Like you could have one in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. I haven't looked into them a ton. I only found out about this like late last night. But it's interesting.
I love it.
But it's, and you know, and then like, cause you sell merch, all you do is you can still buy all this merch you want. You can just only buy it with a boys token.
You can only buy it if you're an investor in the thing.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not costing you any more money. It's still like,
I just like the idea. I like the idea that you can,
but like this guy is like,
can bet on someone's like
growth.
growth.
Exactly. And this guy is like, he's like, he has been right about everything else. And he's like, this is going to
change the game.
He's like, this is the next big thing, especially for artists.
I mean, all those things you can still have your,
like he's saying for
music,
for sure. But he's saying like for music, he's like, music like revenues are like still at what they were like pre-internet basically. He's like, they haven't really like, he's like, video games have like, you know, because forever like with the video games, it's like people were like, the concept of giving a game away for free was crazy, and then they realized they're like, we're making way more money giving them away for free and then just like adding all this stuff around it.
Okay.
Right? But he's like, music hasn't caught up with that yet. Where they're like, they haven't kind of like, he's like,
they really haven't. Their whole model is we'll put your music in shit. Like when record labels sign you, it's all like, we'll put you in a fucking, you know, we're barely gonna make money selling shit, but we're gonna put it in the new
basically
movies.
He's saying is he's like, music and like
commercials
art and stuff is gonna catch up with stuff like video games and like all this NFT stuff. And he's like, and there's no real, and it makes sense. Like there isn't a real reason why like musicians should be making less money than they did 25 years ago.
No, there's really no. I mean, I said that when I was there. It was obvious that it was getting out of that game made sense. Mm-hmm. I know so many people that were great and they're still in the game, and it's like there's no way to make fucking money doing this.
Yeah, for sure. It's very bad.
And then when you can't make money, it's like you spend all your time struggling for money and you don't get to really focus on making good things, and the whole thing just becomes, that's why the only people who make anything good are fucking under 25 because they don't have to get a job now.
Exactly. But anyways, he's this guy, Chris Dixon for Andreessen Horowitz. He's this is the next big thing, Rally.
All right. Well, we'll get out here on that, and we'll finish a little bit onto the Patreon after this. But the funny thing that I wanted to say was before we left, I don't know if you saw this, but because I posted the photo of Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
People flip out over politics. Dude, I got pretty down the middle, but everyone arguing and yelling at each other. Mm-hmm. In my message requests, if I just looked at it, literally like, Yang gang, fuck you. That guy's a piece of shit. Like, what?
Why is he a piece of shit?
Well, because, okay,
just
for two
UBI?
things. One, they think the UBI is commie. And then the other thing is he started to pay lip service to like woke shit a little bit.
Okay.
So what I'll say out of the gate, I was kind of like more saying like comedy's back. Look, fucking Andrea. And I always thought that with every politician, you go, there's a lot of people you go, this guy would probably be a cool guy if they didn't have to go be a politician and ruin your life, because they got to do so much bullshit.
Yeah.
But the other thing, okay, so just say the woke stuff first. You go, agree. I saw that a little bit too, but you go, You think you're getting a fucking mayor or governor of New York that's not going to fucking pay lip? There's no scenario you get elected in New York City as a mayor by being like going off on BLM's problem. But
yeah.
What you
never.
think you're gonna have a mayor of
yeah,
but it depends on what you are. But I'm just saying.
But for a mayor of a city
of New York,
yeah, of course,
you might be able to be the mayor of somewhere else, but you're not going to be the mayor of New York without at least
like a super diverse city. It's like
without playing the line on that stuff. So that's just
I mean, it's such an unnuanced, like for someone to be like, how dare he not only like court my interests and like nothing else? You're like, what do you expect? It's like there's 10 million people in the city.
Yeah, so the funny part about him, let me tell you, I was just going to say why I did like him. I thought on Rogan he was good and stuff. UBI I didn't love, and I thought the two reasons were that I thought that A, it was kind of a shtick. B, he would always go, $1,000. The reason why that number is so good is because you can't change it. It's like stays there, and you go, yeah, they'll change it.
Of course.
Literally, the next person will change. I go, that didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And then his like, everyone's out of a job this time. It's going to be different stuff. I don't really agree with. But when he comes to, and that's why he reminds me of the tech guys. Where I'll tell you what he did say that I agreed with. I thought he's very like nuanced on why he should be a mayor instead of I think I didn't like him as the thing, but as a mayor, you know, that's why he's going around doing all like, I'm cleaning up the trash and we're going to fix this dog park. You know what I mean? He's doing all sorts of stuff like that. Although he did a couple funny things. A chick was messaging me. She goes, who's running his campaign? She goes, he posted a photo. It was National Dog Day. And then he posted a photo of his dog and he goes, we had to give him away, but he was still the best dog because of this.
Really?
Yeah. He posted. And goes, why would you post that?
Photo.
We gave his
They
dog
just
away.
go, we need some dog content today. He goes, you got anything of me petting a dog? And you go, no. Go, just post a photo of me giving this dog away.
Because he said his kid was allergic to it. But she said that he was posted on the train. He goes on the way to Bronx or whatever. He was on the wrong train. He's like on the L train being like, on my way to Harlem.
Could happen to anybody.
Because he's
trying
to be like a New Yorker.
That I can
That's
relate
what she
to.
says.
I mean, that I can really relate to. Being like, pretty sure I'm going to Harlem. They're like, you're on the L train going way out into Brooklyn. Well, I don't know about that. And then you check, you go, oh, I'm on the wrong train.
Yeah, but he posted, about the hot dog vendors, right? So one of the big things he was saying, there's all these unlicensed hot dog vendors. And what he said was, well, let's make it easier for them to get licensed. And I go, a normal liberal would be like, they need to stop enforcing not having people without licenses because it's racist. That would be like your woke position. Conservatives might say, well, yeah, it's hard to get races, or it's hard to get like a hardcore conservative might be like, well, yeah, maybe it's harder to get them. You should get like you shouldn't have broken the law. Like
get in line. There's a process to get a license.
Whereas he's saying that, like, we shouldn't make it fucking retarded and expensive and hard for someone to sell fucking hot dogs. Yeah. He's like, yeah, why? Yeah, you're right. Why is this so hard?
I mean, Toronto had this exact same issue where people were like, because hot dogs are like, they're pre-cooked. It's like, you can't even get sick from them.
Yeah, so why is this such a big issue?
Like, they're not like...
You should be able to apply for a thing in a week. Here's your fucking thing. As long as you don't steal someone else's spot, you can go sell hot dogs on the street.
Yeah, like, it's not raw meat. It's like literally pre-cooked.
Right, so
like,
you don't even need the health
You just
component.
have to the only health component is like, use some common sense, keep it on ice. Don't like buy a hot dog that you see.
But what's the license going to do? You're going to investigate the guy to make sure he doesn't have any history?
Yeah, exactly. Like the license doesn't do anything. All it does is the licensing fee pays for the health inspector to pop by there once every fucking year to make sure that they're not like doing something crazy.
Just stealing money from these people.
Yeah, for sure.
But so anyways, I just thought there was a few things like that where when you go, he thinks of it like a company where, instead of being politicized about those issues, it's like, you're right. We should just make it easier for people. It shouldn't be a fucking 80,000. It's like with the taxi thing. It's like so politicized, but then there's the real world.
Rent controls in this city are like the one thing I'd be like, do that. Fuck. The amount of people who rent shit here.
Yeah. And I go, and the interesting thing,
it's like the craziest rental rules that are like any city I've ever like.
He wants to, right? And he wants to do the sort of Suarez thing where he goes, we want to make this a Bitcoin hub. He says, we want to make this like tech friendly. He's kind of all this, I tried to sign up for a wallet the other day and it goes, you can't because in New York, you can't.
Yeah, New York has all
blah, blah, blah. And he goes, we're going to fucking make it. He goes,
But that's the state though. That's not the city.
Or whatever it is. But I mean, whether he can do it or not, my point is he's like thinking about it like a company. And I felt like.
Yeah, as you should. It's a business.
Once he's starting to say we're gonna tax higher and give everyone $1,000, but I don't think you have that power as a mayor.
No, you don't.
All you can do is the real shit. Fix a fucking bridge.
Yeah, fix the bridge and
get the subway
social
sorted
programs.
Like Cuomo's out there doing all this bullshit, but it's like then they have these subway repairs that take forever. They don't even do a good, it's like they don't fix real shit.
No. 100%.
So that was my take on him. I thought he'd be probably a good mayor.
Yang.
And the other and interesting, I thought he would be dorkier. He had like cool guy energy.
He's like a tech bro.
He's a tech bro.
He is. That's what he literally is. I don't know what company he started, but that's like
he's got
lots of money.
But his tech bro energy.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna be like because he puts that energy out there, but he's like, hey man, how you do? He was all trying to play it cool. And you know what I should say? Full disclosure, I have the same agent as him, which is another reason I liked him because he has the same agent as like me, Jordan Peterson, and fucking like Ari Shaffir and all these people, and you
Yeah.
go, what kind of bitch would, this guy's the same age as Jordan Peterson. Like, how much of a fucking dork could he be?
No, yeah, he's not a dork. I've heard him. He's just like, he has his ideals. He has some ideas of what he wants to do. He has some big goals, but it's like, I think being a tech guy like that is like, they wouldn't want to make like tiny incremental change. They would want to do like, imagine you put Elon Musk in charge of shit. It's like in New York City, he's like, yeah, this would be a different city.
Right.
Like Jeff Bezos, like put it.
He would turn this place into Mars.
Jeff Bezos put Jeff Bezos in charge of running New York City for 2 years. It would be a different city.
Yeah.
It would like have a different, like everything would be different.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Boys Cast. Oh, fuck. I forgot to mention. Okay. One thing I do have to mention. I'm such a fucking dumb idiot.
All the retractions.
No, this episode is brought to you by Forbidden Clothes, and it's been Forbidden Clothes week. I made myself a note, and I didn't do it.
Have they had their Instagram pulled down yet?
No, they have not had their Instagram pulled down yet. I'm
How
such
many
an
underscores?
idiot for not mentioning this. You know what I'll do? I'll mention it next week too, because the guy rules, Mo.
Yeah.
And I kind of screwed that up. I should have said it earlier, and I don't like to insert them after the fact.
Right.
But one thing I will say that hilarious about the video we shot is we did the Jewish video, and everyone. Did you get any people mad about the anti-Semitic thing? Did you get people?
I saw some comments. I saw some comments, but not really.
But I wasn't worried about.
I don't
that.
read the comments a lot, to be honest.
I wasn't worried. I try not to on.
You know what?
I usually read the first hour.
The new Instagram
I pay attention to the first
format. You might do YouTube, but like the new Instagram format has set it up so it's like I just haven't gone off of the old notifications. Where it's like I just don't look at the notifications anymore.
That's
like
great.
the way they put it in that weird tab where it's like you barely notice that they're there, and like you have to make a point to go into them. Where before it's like that tiny red dot, and
What's
sometimes
better?
I just sometimes forget. I straight up I just don't notice it.
Yeah, you're living the life.
Yeah.
Well, he was, because people were yelling. He actually argued with a few people, being like, "No, it's not. This is shut up, whatever."
Yeah.
But I wasn't even worried about the Jewish stuff at all. I wasn't worried about the Jewish stuff. I wasn't worried about the gay stuff. What I was worried about
Vaccine
is
misinfo?
Yeah, it was about getting vaccine.
This is on YouTube. You're talking?
Yeah, because dude, Brent Pella, JP Sears, those guys both did a video. They were kind of making fun of conspiracy shit. Like JP Sears did every conspiracy guy, and he was, he's kind of, I don't know exactly what his opinions are, but he was making fun of, he was satiring that.
Yeah.
And same with Brent Pella. He was like how bros talk about conspiracies or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a joke.
And some of the comments were fucking. Some of his lines were like, "Oh, they have corn pops and Fruit Loops in the vaccine," or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Pretty like obvious joking stuff. And he got a strike and banned for 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
So, but I really want to make this video. And I was like, fuck. So that's one of the reasons I put the stand up at first, because I know they judge that less harsh, but it didn't come down. But I wasn't worried about people like, you worried about the Jew stuff? I'm like, no, you can fucking deny the Holocaust right now before you can fucking say some shit about COVID vaccine.
Do you think if you did a sketch about a YouTube moderator watching vaccine stuff and having to decide if it gets that strike or not, if that would get a strike? Like if they would, because if you're assuming someone's watching and you go, okay, I'm currently watching a parody of myself, and they go, that's a strike.
They kill you. Well, he was talking about that, and he brought up a funny point. He was like, with the people that were calling it anti-Semitic or whatever, he was saying that would be even funnier if everyone found out that this was funded by an Arab dude.
Yeah, you go. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
How's that for your narrative? Oh, it helps it.
Yeah.
It does help.
So it's like anti-Semitic. If it's so anti-Semitic, then why was it funded by an Arab guy named Mohammed? Riddle me that. Shlomo.
Shlomo.
The classic. Anyways, Forbidden Clothes, Ryan 10. Support those guys because they're my most reoccurring sponsor, but I got a few other things in the works. And do subscribe to the Patreon because we are going to be doing extra episodes, and the studio starts next weekend. Thank you very much. This is the Boys Cast at Ryan Long Comedy, at Danny Jokes on all platforms. Peace.